Hey everybody, it's Josie. Welcome back to Cedar Creek Homestead. Pardon the way I look. I know I'm red-faced and sweaty. Overlook that. I'm out here in the garden and it has been extremely hot and humid. Temperatures 104, 105. Heat index pushing upwards of 115 on some days. And so we are just slowly baking here. So early morning, late at night is about the only times that you can really do a little bit of work out in your gardens and out in your outdoor spaces without actually melting into a puddle. And even then, it's iffy. But I wanted to bring my first garden video of the season to you guys. I know it's a little bit later than some of you, but I got a late start. We had all that rain. We couldn't get the tractor in here to do its thing. Then one thing after another. But praise the Lord, the garden is in. It's starting to flourish. The only things that we have really harvested yet is hot peppers. But we have a long season here in my area of Oklahoma. We don't typically get our first freeze till sometime in late October, and so we still have plenty of time to grow all of those things. Now, of course, your co-crops can't be grown this time of year here, but we can do a fall garden for those. So I thought I would just bring you along and show you the progress of our garden. Now we are on... I'm here at the tomato row, and I've been going down through there picking weeds. And boy, one thing that I will point out to you is we put this ground cover on this year, the black ground cover that we get from Growers Solution. It's the same thing that Kevin and Sarah from Living Traditions uses. And Howie and I had watched them for a while use that, and we kind of thought about it and researched it. And this year, after such a horrible garden season for me last year, we are just inundated with that stupid wild morning glory. I shouldn't probably call it stupid, but it just is so invasive, and it just wrapped around everything that it just made it impossible for us to really do anything. And so this year I've put this down. It was an experience for me to see my entire garden covered with this stuff. But boy, oh boy, can I say that I already see a vast improvement over pest issues and grass and the issue with the bindweed, the wild morning glory. I'm just really excited about it. Now we have 2 rows of tomatoes out through here. And the very first row is Jet Star. And they're blooming, putting on blooms. I was kind of worried that with all this excessive heat that we wouldn't get blooms, but we are getting some blooms. They're not crazy blooming yet, but I'm a little bit behind schedule. Pardon me. I told you at the beginning in the video, I have been going down through here, and I have seen some signs of hornworms, and so I have found the hornworms, and I have gotten them taken off. I'm not saying that I didn't miss a hornworm. Those little boogers are very hard to see in their camouflage, and they just blend right into those stalks, and you have to really look. And to me, the only really way that you even know that you have an issue is if you see that see their frass, which is their poo, and then to start looking. But these Jet Stars, they're looking pretty. The next row over, I have Celebrity, and they're doing well as they're also doing well. But I probably have, I don't know, I have close to 100 tomato plants here in the garden. Then up at the house, I have some hanging pots with, I'm trying Tumbling Tom cherry tomatoes and some other tomatoes up there just for fun. I put all of my cherry tomatoes up by the house, and this is just for the big tomatoes. You can see that the tomatoes are looking really good. Now, I wanted to address these cages, because I know a lot of people have done away with tomato cages and are putting up fencing. They're using cattle panels, and I wanted to do that this year. But I don't know if you've priced cattle panels here lately, but they are really, really expensive. I had all these baskets. Howie made all these baskets through the years, and I thought, I'm just going to use what I have, not making an excuse not to put out a garden. And that's what I would challenge y'all to do, is to use what you have. I've got some little green tomatoes. There's one. And there's one. That's exciting. But to use what you have. It doesn't always have to be picture perfect out of a magazine to make your garden really work for you. We just need to be about the job of getting it done. Now I'm going to turn the camera over and show you kind of what weed suppression this stuff does. Now you can see the ground cover. This is the outside row of the garden, and the road is right next to it. And I have this chain link fence. You see this stuff right here? This is that bindweed, and it is horrible. It does have a little flower on it, but big deal. It is just horrible. And you can see it's all in the fence, and I will eventually get to it. Right now, the garden, the main part of my attention is to the garden itself, getting it in there, getting it off and going, and then I can take care of this. But if I hadn't have put the ground cover down, you can see how close they are together. If I hadn't have put that down, this bindweed would continue to grow. It's a creeper, and it crawls all over everything and vines all over everything. It would be right there in my tomato cages. Now you can see this edge. There's actually a little concrete ledge here and a division, and this was our original blackberry bed. Intend to be a blackberry bed again, but as I say, this stuff needs to be cleaned out of here, and and it'll be on to the left side of the concrete, and then the garden starts on the right side. And you can see between the concrete ledge and the ground cover, there is a little bit of a dirt pathway, just teeny tiny, and all of that has to be weeded all the time. See how the little grass comes, and this right here, I pulled it and left it there with the intentions of showing you guys just what I would be dealing with right here at my garden if I didn't have the ground cover. I'm not trying to sell you on the ground cover. I'm just saying, if you have trouble in your garden with this kind of stuff and it's eating up all of your time trying to kill this stuff out rather than having the pleasure of working in the garden and growing food for your family, then you might consider some ground cover. Now this is my pepper row, and I put baskets on these peppers, and some of the peppers actually even have chicken wire wrapped around the baskets because we had an issue with turtles and with rabbits, and they would get in there and nibble the top side out of my peppers. And so these plants are my hot peppers, and I have jalapenos, and I have cayennes, and I have serranos. This one is a mammoth jalapeno. I do have one little Tabasco, and I will tell you to be very careful with those. They will set your hands on fire. And I use these to make pepper juice. Well, it's what we call it here. For Howie's sisters love it on their beans. And so I can those peppers up, and they don't eat the peppers, but they use the juice on their beans. And so I have lots of uses for hot peppers. These are my bell peppers and other sweet peppers. I have a whole row of them. Probably overdid it. But I want to show you right here in this. I want want to show you in there, right there. Right here you can see a little grass coming up beside this pepper. This is about the only weeding I've had to do in this garden. It's just little pieces that come up like that. And it has been very helpful this year to keep the garden clean. Oh, look, I've got some little green bell peppers coming on. And now those of you that have been with me for very long, remember that last year I planted okra 3 times and the okra did not come up. This year I planted my okra and I think about every stalk is up. There's just a few places that it didn't come up. And got something eating on that one. This is my regular okra here. And this is just a short row right here of burgundy okra. I just thought it'd be kind of fun to grow it. But I'm going to have lots and lots of okra. And so, well pleased with that. This row here is my cucumber row. These are Armenian white cucumbers. I've never grown them before, but I thought I would give them a try. And we enjoy fresh cucumbers all summer long. And it's loaded with blooms all the way through there. The bees are on it. They are a really pretty cucumber. And I'm excited to see what we get with those. Next to those, I have, sorry guys, you can see my shadow there. The next cucumber I have are Marketmore, and they've done pretty good. They've come up, they're slower growing, I think, than the Armenian whites, but I do have Marketmores, and they have blooms all over them, all down through here. And then I planted my pickling cucumbers, and I'll just show you. I have 3 pickling cucumbers that came up. So this is something that I will replant hopefully today, get those replanted so they'll get started. And this one looks really good, but all of its neighbors just refuse to come up. And then I have a short row of butter beans. And I'll have a short row because I'm the only one that eats them. And so I thought, well, I'll plant something that I really enjoy. So I've got these butter beans growing. They're climbing their trellis. And it's just an old piece of cattle panel that we had. And we put these posts up. And we put them on with zip ties. I could have done wire, but I used zip ties. And we're just making do with what we have. And you can see that you can do that at your place too. You can grow food by using what you have. Green beans, and they're growing. I still need to get their trellis because they're starting to make their runners. And this is a Kentucky Wonder pole bean, and it definitely needs a trellis. And we'll be getting that up shortly. Hopefully, if the kids get out here, they'll help me today get it up there before next week's video showing you my garden progress. But next to it, I have another row, 3 different types of pole beans. These are rattlesnake beans, and you can see that I did not get a good planting at all of those. I got 2 little beans come up, and so I'm debating on those. I think I'll try to replant them and see if I can't get them to come up. I'm not blaming it on the ground cover. This is the 2nd year that I've planted the rattlesnake beans, and I just didn't get a good harvest. I didn't even get a crop really to speak of at all. So I have all this, and then I left a space and grew another type of bean, and it did the same thing. I just have 1 little bean coming up on that one. But right here I have a beautiful stand of red ripper cowpeas, and you guys know, if you've been with me for very long, I love cowpeas, and so I'm looking forward to these grow. They look beautiful. I'm tempted to forget the beans back behind me on this same row and just finish out the row with these Red Ripper cowpeas, and I may do that. My squashes and my zucchinis are beginning to come on. Don't have any blooms on them yet. They need to grow a little bit, and the whole entire row didn't come up. I'll probably jump back in there. I've probably got enough. If these make, I'll have enough squash for half the county, squash and zucchini. I planted crookneck, and I planted yellow squash. I planted as a new zucchini. Well, okay, guys, there's the garden. It is really, really hot out here. I've got the water on, filling up one of the troughs for the cows that are up here in this pasture, and got the dogs and the chickens and everybody seen to. The garden pretty much is on the right track, and we are working towards a wonderful harvest. We've prayed over it. I continue to pray over it. We're praying for rain. Some of you are probably praying for rain in your areas as well, and I hope that we get it. We had a 20% chance yesterday, and there was some big clouds rolled up, and oh, I prayed all the way home from Cheyenne's baby doctor's appointment, and but we just didn't get any rain. But I'll tell you about this ground cover. In the mornings when I come out here, even in the hot and humid weather like we're having now, if you sit down on the ground or to weed your plants or do whatever it is that you need to do with them, get down on eye level with them, your hiney will be wet. So it does hold moisture, and that is a blessing, because every time that we water, it's good to know that it's not just drying right up, that it's actually soaking in and setting and letting these plants get a little bit extra water, and that is definitely a blessing. Another day, I'll take you guys up and show you the new little garden that we have up by the house. All of those buckets have got new little plants in them. There's not much to show you yet other than new little tomatoes and other things that we have found to plant and just have fun up there. Enjoy them, kind of study the plant and decide if we want to put it up here in the garden or if it's something that we just want to have 1 or 2 plants of, we'll keep up there. But until next time, guys, I still have a lot of work to do, and it is hot as hot can be. And so I'm going to let you guys go for now. This is Josie. I love you. I really do. Keep looking well to the ways of your household. Don't be afraid to use what you've got to grow your garden. It doesn't have to look like you just stepped out of a major gardening magazine. Use what you've got. Grow it up your fence. Do what you have to do to provide that food for your family. Okay, guys, till next time, we're gone.